Okay. Why don't we start by you explaining to me why you came to see me?
I have a phobia of dogs, and doesn't typically get in the way of my day to day life, but I am dating this guy that I really like, and he has a big German Shepherd, and despite my obvious discomfort around the dog, he doesn't want to get rid of him because he's like a member of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to find a way to be around the dog without being really anxious.
Okay. So I think that what we can do, usually in these situations, we use a technique called systematic desensitization, where what we'll do is have you be exposed to dogs, um, but in varying levels. We'll start with a situation that is only moderately anxiety producing, and then we'll move up kind of to something that's quite anxiety producing. Um, and as you kind of move through that scale, you should probably get a sense of mastery each time you get through one situation and move to the next situation. Um, and you'll be able to see how your anxiety goes down because you've been able to accomplish being in that situation and nothing has happened. Um, so why don't we put together a what we call a fear hierarchy? So this will be kind of the different exposures that you're going to go through. We'll start at 1 being the least fear producing and 10 being the most fear producing. So let's go ahead and start with 1.
Okay. What about like a video of larger dogs? I'm more afraid of larger ones than smaller ones.
Okay, so it's good to establish kind of that larger dogs are worse for you. So definitely something involving a large dog. And you think a video would be a good
Yeah, with maybe one like with children to show that they're not
children. Okay, so let's do
dangerous.
like about 5 minutes maybe watching something that is a dog interacting with children. So let's say one is going to be 5 minute video of a large dog interacting with children. Now let's establish number 10 next. Then we'll kind of fill in the middle ones as we go. So number 10 should probably be like the most fear inducing. And it kind of seems like probably something having to do with your boyfriend's dog would be best, right?
Yeah.
So where do you think that you kind of want to be at with your boyfriend's dog?
I mean, if the relationship continues as I would like it to, I would hope to be able to be around the dog, just me and him. No one else, no other leashes, just be able to interact with the dog.
Okay, so I guess 10 should probably be that then. Would be you and the dog interacting without the dog being on a leash and without anybody else present. So then let's try number 5, something that's kind of in the middle of those. Something that's less fear producing than you being just alone with the dog or, with it off of the leash, but obviously more than when it's just a video. So it's probably going to be something with a real dog. Um, what kind of situation do you think applies there?
It could be, right, well, 5 could be maybe me, like around the dog without a leash. I don't quite have to be like interacting with him, or he could be like on the leash. Does that?
Okay. So why don't we say 5 should be on the leash across the room?
Yeah, so like I'm with him, but he's still
But
kind
he's
of
still
controlling.
okay. So we'll just say that. Okay. So why don't you write that one down and then we'll start going from 1 to 5. And then we'll do 5 to 10. Okay, so moving from videos to probably real dogs is the next step we want to take. But maybe not putting you right into the room with the dog. Why don't we start maybe with you being, you being in the vicinity with the dog, but
I could I could be in my boyfriend's house, knowing that the dog's somewhere in the house, but in a cage.
Okay, so that's a good start. Yeah, so you knowing that the dog's there, but knowing that he's safely away from you. Then we should move probably to you still being in the same vicinity, but him being maybe on a leash, or what do you think about the next step there?
I could be in the same room as him when he's in the cage.
Okay, that's a next good step. Yeah, okay. So him being in the cage still, so you're still safely near him, but just in the same room now. You're moving a little bit closer, but you know that he's still safe. So then why don't we try and take him out of the cage?
Okay.
That should be a next step.
I could be like across the room from him when he's on the leash.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Because then 5 is like right next to him.
5 is right next to him, right. So then I guess you should be across the room from him and he's on the leash, right? So 6, I guess we should move towards him being maybe off of the leash. You said 5 was him being on the leash but next to you, right? Is that what we established?
So should 6 be me like patting him when someone else is there on the leash and he's on the leash?
That's a good idea. So you should be interacting with him, right? Then I think we should kind of move to him being off of the leash from there.
So 7, he could be off the leash, but someone else is still around and he's like across the room.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that someone should probably be around until the last stage, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 7 we said was going to be him off of the leash, but across with someone else. Now 8, what about closer to you?
Yeah, he could be next to me under
Okay.
the same circumstances.
With someone there with you. Alright. Then why don't we try you interacting with him when someone
With
else is
the other
still
person
there.
there, but he's not on the leash.
Yeah. Does this seem like a really good progression for you?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like things that you can kind of manage as you go along.
Yeah.
Do you think any of these are things that you would be able to do? Obviously, we've already established some of these are going to be when other people are present. But, like, the first one maybe is something you could do on your own for homework, and that wouldn't be too anxiety producing for you.
I think.
Or is it something you'd rather do in session?
I think the first 3 or so I could do alone, because the first one's the video, and the second one, he's in the house. The second and third, he's in the house with me in the room, but he's in a cage.
Mm-hmm. But this would still probably be with your boyfriend being present?
Yeah, my boyfriend would probably be in the house somewhere.
Okay. And that would probably be best for you. So I think you should try and do these for homework as we go along. And you should kind of take your anxiety, monitor your anxiety from the beginning of that to the end, once you start the exposure to the end of the exposure. And then you'll report them back to me after each therapy session. And hopefully, like I was saying before, you'll be able to kind of see a sense of mastery in that. And you'll feel proud of the fact that you've been able to get through that and see that since you got through it and there wasn't anything that happened that was out of your control, then you can move on to the next step. And then you reevaluate at the next step. Does this sound reasonable for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
See you next week.